Hey guys, it's time for the Unit 3 Proportional Relationships video and notes. So you have a packet and it starts here with the Unit 3 Proportional Relationship vocabulary. Unit 1, Unit 2 was about as easy as it's going to get. But don't be afraid, you did all this stuff pretty much in the 7th grade, okay? And we're going to walk you through it and take you through it step by step. Here's the words that we're going to be looking at and using. Y equals kx, you did that last year. Constant of proportionality is k. Rate of change, you called it rate of change last year. It's slope. Slope is represented by m. We're going to go over all these different things. First, I want you to go and flip back to the 8th grade cheat sheet I gave you. And I want you to highlight or circle or whatever your method is. And I just want to show you the stuff that we have already done. We did Unit 1 real numbers, ordering real numbers. That's part of Unit 1. We change everything to a decimal and put it in order, small to big or least to greatest, greatest to least, whatever it says. Up in the top corner, scientific notation, we did that Unit 2. And now we can highlight what we're going to be using in Unit 3. We're going to talk about proportional relationships using tables. We're going to talk about slope. We're going to talk about similar figures and how to set up a proportion. On the back side, there you go, proportional relationships and non-proportional relationships. That's Unit 4, but go on and highlight all that. So this is your cheat sheet. Please refer back to this. It's good. Okay? Let's take some notes. Your first page says ratios, rates, and unit rates and proportions packet. Yay! Let's fill this out. A ratio is a comparison of two quantities. Ratios can be written 3 different ways. Example, in a class of 20 students, 12 are girls. Write the ratio of the number of girls to total students. So we can write it as a fraction, like 12 over 12 to 20. We can write it using a colon. We can write 12 to 20. And we can write it with the word to. 12 to 20. These 3 things mean the same thing. That's the ratio of girls to the total students. Ratios can be reduced. Write an equivalent ratio to 12:20. Okay? They just want you to simplify that. What number can go in to both of these numbers? We can divide both of them by the number 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3, and 20 divided by 4 is 5. So 12/20 is the same as 3/5. So let's write that as a fraction. 3/5, using the colon, 3/5, 3 to 5, and 3 to 5. You should have completed this in the 7th grade. Let's practice a little bit. There are 14 red marbles and 20 blue marbles in a bag of marbles. What is the ratio of red to blue marbles in simplest form? Well, we know there's 14 red, and we know there's 20 blue. So we can simplify that because each one can be divided by 2. 14 divided by 2 is 7, and 20 divided by 2 is 10. 7 to 10 is the ratio. What's the ratio of blue marbles to total marbles in simplest form? Well, now they're talking about blue and total. Up here we were talking about red and blue. So let's see what this says. So we know there's 20 marbles, and the total would be 14 plus 20. That gives us 34. Now the equivalent fraction would just be to simplify it. So we know that 20 divided by 2 would be 10, and 34 divided by 2 would be 17. So the ratio is 10 to 17 in simplest form. This is all a refresher, just so you understand that ratios, rates, unit rates all have to do with slope. Rates. A rate is a ratio comparing two different units. Example, a bike travels 54 miles in 4 hours. When written as a rate, it would be 54 miles to 4 hours. You can write equivalent rates by multiplying or dividing the numerator and denominator by the same number. That's what we've been doing. So you can take 54 over 4 divided by 2 divided by 2. If you do it here, you got to do it there. That will be 27 miles over 2 hours. Okay? You can either divide it. If you want to make it bigger, we don't want to make it bigger. You would multiply it by something. But we always want it the simplest form. Guided practice. Let's see what this says. Sierra can make 8 friendship bracelets in 2 hours. Which of the following rates is equivalent to 8 bracelets in 2 hours? So 8 to 2. Well, which one could it be? Okay, now this one they are multiplying it. So I better go back up here and show you how to do this. So if you have 54 miles in 4 hours times 3, that would be 162 miles. And this one would be 12 hours. I was thinking they were going to simplify this and they would get 1 over 4. But you see that's not an answer. So we needed to see what they were doing here, and it looks like they multiplied each one of these by 2. And you can see that this would be the equivalent fraction. Mark can type 44 hours and 2 minutes. Which of the following is equivalent to that rate? Since these are all bigger than 44, we know they're multiplying here. So we have 44 over 2. So I would use this bottom one and see which one can match up. We know this cannot even equal that. We know this cannot even equal this. So 2 times 2 is 4, but 2 times 44 is 88, so that's not it. 2 times 3 is 6, and 44 times 3 is 132. So your answer is D. So you're just seeing what fractions match the other fraction, basically. Unit rates. A unit rate is a ratio of 2 different measurements where the second measurement is 1. It's the amount, like cost, miles, numbers of objects, for one item, like 1 mile, 1 hour, 1 ounce. Example, a rate of 180 miles in 3 hours. So you would have 180 miles in 3 hours. So the unit rate would be, we need to divide. 180 divided by 3 would be 60. So our unit rate is this person would drive 60 miles per hour. We can use unit rates when shopping to help us determine the better deal. Example, you can buy a 40-ounce jar of peanut butter for $5.25 or a 15-ounce jar for $2.10. Which is the better deal? If we find out the cost per ounce for each jar, then we can determine which is the better price. To do this, we need to always divide. Always put money on top. So the first one is $5.25 divided by how many? 40 ounces. So let's use the calculator. 5.25 divided by 40. That gives us 0.13 per ounce for 1 ounce. And the other is $2.10 for 15 ounces. So let's see what this is. So 2.10 divided by 15. That's 14 cents per ounce. So the better deal is the bigger jar because you're paying less. You get more for your money. So the 40-ounce jar is 13 cents per ounce and the 15-ounce jar is 14 cents per ounce. You get more for your money. And you'll know that when you get bigger and you start grocery shopping. You'll see that the more you buy, the better price you get. Guided practice. Let's see here. Car travels 420 miles on 15 gallons of gas. Express this as a unit rate. So we have 420 miles and 15 gallons of gas. So we know this means divide. So 420 divided by 15 is 28. We get 28 miles per gallon. At one store, you can purchase 7 apples for $5.46, and at another store, you can get 5 apples for $3.95. Which one is better? Remember, they said always put money on top. 5.46 divide, always use pencil. 5.46 divided by 7. Let's see what that is. That's 78 cents an apple. Then we have $3.95 divided by 5. That gives us 79 cents an apple. So this is the better deal. One online music site is advertising 15 song downloads for $6.75. Another says 12 for $5.76. Which one's the better deal? Well, let's see. Money on top, remember? $6.75 divided by 15. It's going to give us, let's see. $0.45 a song. That's great. I love music. Let's see what the other one is. $5.76 divided by 12. $0.48. That's too much. This is the better deal. Now, well, here we are at proportions. And I'm sure that you remember the butterfly thing. Remember? Little butterfly. Proportion is an equation stating that two ratios, fractions, are equal. We can tell if the two ratios are equal if their cross products are equal. For example, the average classroom at one school has 2 boys for every girl. If there are 12 boys in a room, how many girls would there be? One way to figure that out is to use a drawing. So, let's see. 2 boys for every girl. If there are 12 boys in a room, how many girls would there be? I'm not going to use this because I like to just use numbers. And that strategy isn't all, there it is. That strategy isn't always reasonable. Would you use a drawing if it asked how many girls would there be if there were 56 boys? No way, that's too much drawing. We can just set up a proportion. So they said, the original problem said 2 boys for every girl, so 2 to 1. And if there are 12 boys in a room, how many girls would there be? So, these are boys. Now, I hope you remember your ones chart. W is words, so you have boys, and you have girls. This is what you know, or this is the original, and this is what you need to know. Okay, now we can cross multiply, and there we go. 2 times x is 2x, and 1 times 12 is 12. So, to get x by itself, we need to divide both sides by 2. If we divide here, we got to divide there. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so that gives us 1x. But the x is imaginary. X is hidden. We don't write, the 1 is hidden. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So, there are 6 girls in the class. Let's try this one. I need to speed it up. We're on 16 minutes here. Paul reads 5 pages in 4 minutes. So we have the words, original, and need. We have pages, and we have minutes. And we have 5 pages in 4 minutes, and he can read in 7 minutes, because that goes down here. Now we can cross multiply. We would get 4x equals 5 times 7 is 35. Divide by both sides by 4, and x is going to be, do this, 35 divided by 4, it's going to give us 8.75. Let's do another one here. Let's see, we have tickets, we have hours. We have tickets, we have hours. And we know, or the original is, we have 15 tickets, and we have a half hour, so that would be 0.5, because it would be a half. I'd rather use 0.5 than 1/2. If this rate continues, how long would you expect to sell 270 tickets? So there's our proportion. So we have 15x equals 270 times 0.5 is 135. Divide both sides by 15. And it's going to take them, x equals 9 hours. Okay? Let's see what else we got here. I'm going to continue part 2 on this at a later time. That's the first part of our notes. I'll upload the second part for tomorrow. Thank you for watching, and have a great one, guys. I appreciate it.